All right, thank you so much for joining us today, everybody. We really appreciate you tuning in to Extreme Health Radio for another edition of our program. Today is Wednesday, September 21st, 2012, and this is episode number 11. So you can find that at extremehealthradio.com/11, and all of our shows are transcribed, just so you know. So anything the guest says or I say during the interview will be searchable on our website. So take advantage of that. And also there's show notes too for every show. And if the guest mentions a book or website, anything like that, it will be on the show notes. So no need to write them down. You can just find it at extremehealthradio.com/11. And if you have any questions for our guest today, you can send them to Justin at extremehealthradio.com or call in and leave a voicemail and we'll play it on the air. That is 949-391-7363. And just to let you know, this show is brought to you by the Vitamix blender. And this is one of the best blenders on the market, in my opinion. I've had mine for about 8 years now and use it about 3 times a day. It's just an amazing piece of machinery. And if you're in the market to buy one, please consider buying it through us and we'll get a little commission for that. You can find that at extremehealthradio.com/Vitamix. Before we introduce our guest, I just want to talk a little bit about our show schedule coming up. We've got a lot of great guests coming up. Typically, we do shows on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And next week, we've got Christopher Wark, who has beat cancer naturally. If you know anyone who has cancer or you have cancer yourself, he beat cancer stage 3 colon cancer, I think, naturally. We've got Dr. Bruce Shelton out of Arizona, who's doing some really great work with chelation therapies and ozone and oxygen and all kinds of crazy healing protocols. So you'll definitely want to tune into that. We've got Barry Carter on October 1st. He's going to be talking about Ormus and subtle energies and things like that. We've got Dr. Wendy Wilson, who's an herbalist, and we've got Dr. Gerald Smith coming up, who is a biological dentist out of New York, who's drawing an interesting connection between root canals and cancer, and he's doing a lot of great work out of Arizona. So today I'm really excited. We've got Don Croft and Carol Croft from worldwithoutparasites.com, and they make an interesting little contraption called the Terminator 2 Zapper, and I've got mine. Actually, I'm going to need to put mine on right now, and we're going to be talking about parasites and their website, worldwithoutparasites.com. So thanks so much for joining us, Don and Carol. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite, Justin.
Yeah, no problem. And you guys are calling in from what state? Is it Iowa?
Idaho.
Idaho. Okay. And how long?
Yeah, North Idaho.
Okay. And you guys have been involved in making these zappers. I'm just strapping mine on right now for many years.
Well, we started in 1996 and started out very basic and figured out pretty quick that it needed to be improved. So we started doing that and kept going. We're still improving it.
And you got started, I think I read on your website that you got started reading one of Hulda Clark's books?
Yeah, I got a book and I bought a zapper for $125 made in Yelm, Washington with a handhold. And I got such a remarkable healing with that so fast that I had to start making them and trying them out on complete strangers who were sick.
And what happened?
Well, it turned into a business. Yeah, I kept healing people, and I had to know what it could do, you know. So after a couple hundred people getting healed, I started selling them, making them and selling them.
It's interesting that the zappers are. Did Bob Beck do a lot of work with the zapping early on, or was that originally kind of made more popular by Hulda Clark? Because I know there was people before them, but...
Well, Hulda Clark and Robert Beck came up with pretty much the same device, and I started out with Hulda Clark's book, like you said, and a lot of the protocols seemed confusing and conflicting, and so by observation and experimentation on myself, I simplified it a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And when Carol joined me in 2000, we developed the Terminator together, by adding a lot of subtle energy components. And Carol is really good with subtle energy and can see it and knows what it does. So it was a really nice collaboration.
And what's subtle energy? What is it?
Well, we use Dr. Wilhelm Reich's term orgone, but it's chi, or prana, life force, animal magnetism. They have a lot of different names. Ether.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's what materialistic science tries its best to ignore, but it's like ignoring night and just focusing on day, or ignoring day and just focusing on night. It's the other half of electricity and magnetism.
So is that
we can't have any of that without subtle energy.
So subtle energy is more like the animating life force that we all have, the animation in our bodies. That's
right. And Dr. Reich was the first modern scientist to turn it into technology, and with his orgone accumulators and with his cloudbuster and other stuff. And we sort of built on what he taught. And Carl Welps commercialized Orgonite, which is a device that it's a material that generates this energy, essentially, always positive, and so that's what we pursued.
Wow! So
and it's really simple too.
Yeah, these devices are. I mean, the Zapper that I have, it looks like something that's a little bit smaller than an iPhone, but it's a little thicker. And you just wear it underneath your belt, and I definitely feel a warming sensation, kind of like a stinging, when I wear it.
When you're sure. I'm sorry.
Oh no, and so what is that warming sensation or that stinging indicating?
Well, that's a good question. When we're acidic, all the acids are going to rush towards the positive electrode, which is there are two discs on a Zapper. There are electrodes, copper discs. One's positive, one's a ground. Well, the acids are attracted to the positive pole, and if you don't move it, they're going to eat a hole right through the skin to get to that disc. And so when it starts to tingle, you just move it, and this never happens on the palm or on the sole of the foot. So people who are extremely acidic can do that. Just wear it there at first. And it generally takes 2 or 3 days to become alkaline by using any Zapper.
Wow. So now, is this the same thing as... I'm trying to think of the technology that creates a resonant frequency of something that is vibrating inside your body, like a cancer cell or something like that, where it creates a counter frequency to kill it. Is that kind of what's going on here, or is it much more simplistic than that?
In my opinion, that this technology is so simple that a lot of people have to believe that it's more complicated. And the resonant frequency theory, it was something Hulda Clark promoted, but it has no relationship to zapping. Zapping is just electrification. It's like charging a battery.
Okay.
Your body, a healthy body has an excess of free electrons, and that's the alkaline state. So when you're using a zapper, you're gently adding more and more electrons to the body until it achieves that alkaline state. And in that alkaline state, parasites can't live. They fall apart.
Wow.
They literally disintegrate. Yeah, I got a picture on my website of dead worms.
I was just on your website, and you've got lots of great information. That's worldwithoutparasites.com, and you can find out more about the Zapper. They've got lots of different products there. Now, am I correct in my understanding that the Zapper can affect viruses, bacteria, fungus, and parasites?
Yeah, it destroys every pathogenic organism disintegrates in the presence of free electrons. And this is how colloidal silver works. The silver carries those electrons into the body, and it doesn't take much.
Wow. So the Zapper essentially sends a frequency into your bloodstream, which then kills the parasites.
Well, try to think of it as a flow, as like turning on a spigot, and you're just pouring free electrons into your body that your body uses. And this is, you know what an amp is? An amp is voltage times current. Mm-hmm. Let's see, a light bulb, 100-watt light bulb, I think is 10 amps. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. A light bulb is 10 amps. What you get inside the body from a zapper is 5 millionths of 1 amp.
Ooh, okay.
And that's how little it takes. Now, any frequency does exactly the same thing, because the purpose of a frequency in any zapper, including the multiple frequency zappers, is to get some of that current through the skin by capacitance. Now, a zapper puts out 5,000ths of an amp. You're only getting 1,000th of that through the skin. And it seems inefficient, but that's all you need. And the whole thing about frequencies is a misunderstanding of Royal Raymond Reich's accomplishments back in the 20s and 30s with the Reich generator. Now, he was able to target specific organisms by discovering their resonant frequency. That's the length of their body. Okay. And broadcasting that with a flashing light, a plasma light, just in the vicinity of the body, and that destroyed that species of parasites with resonant frequency. Now, a zapper does every species of parasite, thousands and thousands of species of parasites, all at the same time, with any frequency, because this is electrification. This is because none of those species can live in the presence of an abundance of free electrons.
Wow. So,
yeah.
Now,
a whole industry has been generated on this misconception of Royal Raymond Reich's work.
Okay. And now, what's the relation to Wilhelm Reich and Nikola Tesla to this kind of technology?
Well, now Tesla's devices were etheric as well as electric. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, the radio is an etheric electrical device, magnetic, because radio waves are carried through the ether, which is the substratum of reality of the whole universe. It's a measurable force, which Wilhelm Reich called orgone. And the Tesla coil generates this energy like amazing. People who see the energy see this enormous bright blue field around the Tesla generator, Tesla coil.
Wow.
And I remember when people would get these Tesla coils and just turn them on because it felt so good to be around it.
Wow, that's interesting. So have you guys, now this kind of technology is pretty amazing, and I would imagine not so well looked upon by the powers that be. Have you guys had any issues with that?
You call them powers, but I never call them powers because this corporate order is parasitic. It's not powerful.
Right.
It's based on deception. So, but science is going to catch up with it. Mm-hmm. You know, if you look at what black ops, things like that, that's all subtle energy. These new towers that you see everywhere, those are subtle energy weapons. They're subtle energy weapons. They're not for cell phones. A whole lot of other stuff, the weather weaponry, that's done with subtle energy. They use frequencies and they use electricity, but if they weren't a subtle energy-based weaponry, we wouldn't be able to disable them so easily.
Wow, and you have technology to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's the same thing that's in the zappers. It's Orgonite.
Wow, so
Orgonite is, Orgonite. It's a little block you see inside your zapper if you lift the lid.
Yeah, I've looked at that. Let's talk a little bit about Orgonite and what's inside the zapper, because I think there's some interesting things inside the zapper.
Okay, Yeah, there's some other components in there. There's the Mobius coil, which I got secondhand from the CIA. And somebody gave it to me. It's a cell energy device. It's a weapon. If you don't put a wire around it, it makes you feel sick. And even with 0.005 of an amp going through, it'll make you feel kind of sick. So we put that, if you look inside, you'll see a little wire going around the edge of the zapper inside. All right, that's to keep that Mobius coil in a healing capacity.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's an amazing little device. It's simple. And it's pretty cool.
And you have a crystal inside there, I think, as well, right?
Yeah, what you can see is an amethyst and a garnet. And just about everything in that Terminator was suggested by somebody else. Carol's the one that arranged it all in a really cohesive way.
And then
the garnet and amethyst, yeah, that creates a full spectrum effect that resonates with the entire body's energy system. And then inside the Orgonite block are 4 gemstones.
Wow.
That, well, that's proprietary because this is now a competitive market.
Right.
There's several knockoffs out there. Yeah. But they're healing stones. Carol can talk about that more.
The idea of the subtle energy things inside the Zapper are, what it does is the electric, the regular current, that kills the parasite. All the subtle energy stuff in there encourages the body to heal at an accelerated rate. So it works together, and that's why it works so well, is because it also encourages the body to heal after the die-off and after the purge of the parasites and the worms and all that.
Now, when someone wears one of these zappers, what are they going to feel in terms of die-off relatively soon after wearing it? Will they feel a really strong die-off effect, or how does that work?
Well, it's very interesting. I just heard from some people too that they expressed that they felt really bloated and also some diarrhea, symptoms, and that's pretty normal, especially if somebody's been to a third world country when there's a lot of die-off. But most people don't experience that unless they've been to a third world country. Sometimes a lot of people feel really energized by it because of all the subtle energy stuff in there. Plus the body, our bodies are a miraculous thing. All you got to do is give it just a little bit, and it wants to heal. It'll take whatever you can give it and do the best it can with that.
Right.
And so a lot of people report back, kind of euphoric symptoms because their body is just so appreciative of what it's getting from the Zapper.
Right, because we do so much to assault our health on a daily basis, and I think when you give the body something it really can work with, it just eats it up. It loves it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Now, what kinds of things does the Zapper affect in terms of symptoms for people? Like, can it work for people, or do things positively for people that have cancer? Or what are some of the, maybe bloating or candida, things like that? Like, what are some of the things that the Zapper can affect in a positive way?
Okay.
Any Zapper, even the simplest Zapper, generally cures cancer within 3 weeks. Most cancer. And this is something I discovered early on. Arthritis, same thing. Heart disease, brain parasites, which is a big cause of depression.
Wow.
Liver problem. That cures about half the cases of diabetes that we've run across. And I don't know what the parameters are.
Wow, that's
but since people started using antibiotics, we've gotten worms in all the major organs because antibiotics destroy a barrier in the colon that prevents these parasites from entering the bloodstream. So a whole lot of problems, especially heart problems, are caused by worms that actually should never have gotten out of the colon. So the first time somebody uses antibiotics, it's like opening the door to a whole bunch of money that doctors can make later on from a variety of degenerative sicknesses.
Wow, that's interesting.
And that's yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So it's such an easy thing to wear one of these zappers. And when we come back, I want to ask you a little bit about how it can affect and help cancer and heart disease and things like that, and maybe the connection, with parasites and heart disease and things. But we'll just take this quick break, and we will be right back. Hey there, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you're getting a lot of value from this show. I know I am. I just wanted to take a brief moment and talk about a program that I really, really strongly stand behind. It's called the Get Juicy program by Philip McCluskey. And I've been following Philip's work for many years, and he lost over 200 pounds on a raw food diet. So if you're interested in doing a cleanse, this could be the cleanse that you want to look at. It's a 10-day juicing cleanse, specifically designed to help you lose weight, help you gain more energy, help flush out toxins, and the whole cleanse is delivered via video through his website, and you can check that out at extremehealthradio.com/juicy. And if you purchase through us, we'll make a commission, and that will help us run the show here. But I only promote products I really, really believe in, and this is something that I really believe in. He is someone that you want to listen to, because a lot of people talk about cleansing and detoxification, but Philip's done it. He's lost over 200 pounds and completely changed his life. So this is definitely something that you want to look at before you do something drastic about your weight loss or things like that. It's completely safe, and he walks you through every single day, all 10 days, what to make and how to do it, and it comes with tons of free ebooks that he throws in as bonuses, and I think there's a forum in there too. I have access to it, actually. I should do a review of that and show you what that looks like, and I will probably soon. But anyway, you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/juicy if you want to learn more about that, and if you're interested in doing a cleanse and all of that stuff. So, and also, if you would like to visit our store, we've got all kinds of really great products in there. Everything from products for your dog and products for your children, how to raise healthy babies during pregnancy and after pregnancy, the Longevity Now conference. We've got tons of really high quality products, so check out our store if you'd like to support us. And if you want to make a donation, that would be really, really appreciated over here. Lots of people donate, and you can do so monthly for as little as $1 or just a one-time gift, and man, that would really, really help keep the engine running here. So but if you make purchases on Amazon, feel free to go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, and you can make your purchase, and we'll get a little commission too, and that will help keep everything running too. So we really appreciate that. And if you want to just follow us on Facebook, if you don't want to do any of that, you just want to keep it free and just enjoy the show, follow us on Facebook and click like as many times as you can, and send the link to your friends, and use Twitter and all that kind of stuff. So we'd really appreciate if you did that. That would help us continue providing hopefully really good quality information that you could really benefit from. So thank you so much for listening, and with that said, let's get back to this interview. Okay, we are back with Don and Carol Croft from worldwithoutparasites.com. And before the break, we were talking with Don about how the Zapper can affect things like cancer and heart disease. And, those are the top two, killers in the United States, I believe. And so I'd like to ask you, Don, how zapping can affect, let's start with heart disease and how it affects the arteries of the heart.
Well, go ahead. Oh, okay. Love that Vitamix, by the way.
I do too. They're great.
The first time I saw it work on heart disease, I was visiting a guy in a hospital in St. Louis in 1996, and he was scheduled for open heart surgery. He was in a lot of pain. He was going to have heart surgery the next morning. I saw him the evening before that. I said, hey, you want to try this Zapper? I don't know if it'll help you. So he held the 2 pipes, because I was making them like Calder Clark in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And 15 minutes later, the pain was gone. And I later read that a lot of times doctors cut open the heart and find a bunch of worms, and so you just close it up again. I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so atherosclerosis, that's a deposit of cholesterol in the arteries. That another fellow researcher discovered that the reason the body does that is because the arteries have holes in them eaten by fungus. So the body is really smart, like Carol says, and it will patch these holes. So more fungus, more patches, and before you know it, the arteries are just made up of cholesterol. Now, a Zapper destroys the fungus pretty quick. So the body, being as wise as it is, reabsorbs the cholesterol over time,
Mm-hmm.
and the blood pressure goes down, or the heart works better. It's really simple. Really, really simple.
Wow. And
most health problems are caused by parasites. So,
and one of the many ways we can get parasites is by just living day-to-day life, just being exposed to animals or things like that, right?
yeah, but the thing about parasites is that they have consciousness, they have will. And in today's world where people are doing their best to poison us, through the food supply, the water supply, the air,
Mm-hmm.
just electronically, and with subtle energy. Like you see these panels on all the water towers.
Mm-hmm.
That's poisoning the water. That's weaponry. It's not for cell phones. But so this encourages the growth of parasites, and even people who are on raw food and they're just supremely healthy, sometimes they have to kill those parasites. 20 years ago that wasn't a problem. I remember that because I was on raw food in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw this problem in the 70s among raw food people. And but now, unfortunately, it exists, and the parasites are worms, bacteria, fungus, virus, slime, mold, whatever. And all of this fails to survive in an alkaline environment where there's an abundance of free electrons. The atmosphere is healthy when there's abundance of free electrons. Smog disappears, the air's clean, you feel good,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see for 50, 60 miles. It's the same thing inside the body.
Wow. So
Yeah, politically, it's the same thing. The body politic. Politics is parasitic right now.
right.
And none of that has to be. None of that has to be.
So there's also a fungal connection to cancer. I think Dr. Tullio Simoncini out of, I think, Italy has been making a connection recently with the fungal. He says all cancer is a fungus, so that would lend credence to what you're saying, how this thing can kill fungus.
Well, I don't know enough to have an opinion on that. I suspect he knows what he's talking about. Now, the life cycle of the virus, every virus, this is something I read. I'm not a doctor. I was a psychic when they started this. Carol was doing psychic readings. And the life cycle of any virus is 3 weeks. And cancer is always cured within 3 weeks with the Zapper. Genital herpes takes 3 weeks to cure that with a Zapper. And one reason we developed the Terminator was because ordinary Zappers weren't consistently curing genital herpes. It's the most aggressive viral sickness. So we use that as a test disease. And when we finally reached the Terminator configuration in 2000, we saw almost 100% success rate. So like I say, that's the most aggressive form of virus that we know about.
Wow. And so you guys have, I looked on your website recently, and you guys have another sort of an upgrade to the Terminator. It's called the T-Rex. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I'll send you one of those. Just give me your address, because Yeah, you're like that a lot.
Yeah, no, that one.
Well, it's got a device in there that Carol made, and she can talk about that. But she came up with it 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I could tell you what's in there, but I have to shoot you,
Right.
I still talk about it. Here she is.
So what are...
The difference between the Terminator and the T-Rex is what we've seen, and also I've experienced, empathetically, is that the T-Rex seems to go deeper inside the body, so it's more intense. The only difference is there's a different coil in there that opens the body up even more for the electrical current.
Wow, so it's a little bit stronger and goes a little bit deeper into the body.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so now what happens
so we usually don't sell those to people unless they buy the Terminator first, because they tend to do the tingling and the burning up quite a bit faster, and that's just because, and they seem like they're a lot more stronger as far as electricity-wise, but they're really not. It's just that the body is accepting it a lot more efficiently, so it seems like it's a lot stronger. So you actually get things done a lot faster with the T-Rex.
Wow. So do you guys wear these? Because I wear mine pretty much during the time that I'm sitting at the computer, because if I get up and walk around, sometimes it can fall out, but it's do you guys have some fancy ways that you like to strap them to your body?
I have mine in my sock right now, my ankle. Carol puts hers in her bra strap.
Well, I usually don't wear mine during the day anymore. I found that I kind of trained my hand to hold it, and I just wear it on my palm all night long, and then that's my zapping time because I'm not holding around. There's also those tennis sweatband wristbands that you can buy. Those work really good at holding it on your palm.
Okay, and you can...
And then I just wear it there all night long.
Yeah, and so that would be a great time to wear the Zapper because you're, getting 8 hours of it in, right?
Exactly. And if, it can't burn you, it won't burn you on your palm.
Oh, that's right.
There's no worry of that. So that's what I've started doing.
Now, a lot of people these days are getting into the grounding technology and, getting these mats. And I have one of them right here where you can supposedly ground your body while you're, at your computer or whatever. Is there a conflict with zapping while you're grounded? Or I would imagine that wouldn't be an issue, would it?
Well, some people were saying that was so we experimented with it and found that it wasn't so. I think somebody got an idea theoretically that was happening and just went with it. But, we don't make very many claims because we want to be sure we know what we're talking about before we make any claims at all. And so we experiment and we observe and otherwise, my God, you can imagine what we'd be saying about our zappers.
Yeah, they'd probably put you in jail, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Speaking from a psychic's view, though, anything that grounds you is going to make it easier for your body to heal.
Okay.
So to me, the two would work really, really well together. I would imagine,
because isn't there something with the grounding with the free ions, and that's kind of similar to the Zapper, right?
Exactly. It actually, the two would complement each other.
Okay.
I think you're receiving free electrons when you ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too, is you're allowing the free electrons of the Earth to pass into your body, I guess.
Yeah. And the only way you can hurt yourself with electricity is to put too much in the body, but that's like, putting your finger in a wall socket or something.
Right.
Yeah, it takes an awful lot to hurt you.
So
zappers are absolutely harmless.
So what happens now on my Zapper? I've got, if I wear it pretty frequently, I've got the little metal discs or the copper discs start to turn green or kind of discolored, or it's typically just one of the discs. Is there a way to clean that off, or what is that?
Yeah, we use a paste form metal copper cleaner in the grocery store. Okay. That's just a crud from the body. And it's going to the disc that's farther from the switch, right?
Let me take it off. I think so, because one of them is like much darker. Yes, exactly.
Okay, the one that's close to the switch is the positive. The one that's farther from the switch is the ground. I don't know why that one collects the stuff, but the one that burns you is the positive one.
Okay.
That's where the acid goes. So I wish I knew more. I'm not a scientist,
So
if you don't have copper cleaner, regular toothpaste works too. You just rub it in and then wipe it off with a damp cloth, not wet cloth, just a damp one.
Yeah, we like copper cleaner because we're lazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I use toothpaste.
It's harmless. It's harmless.
Okay, and do you have to clean it off, or can you just let it sit there?
Well, it slightly insulates, so the Zapper is more efficient if you clean it occasionally.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I get some of these people send Zappers for repair, and sometimes it's so thick, I have to grind it off. It's crazy.
Oh, wow, really?
But our instructions tell what to do, so.
Okay, and so I want to talk a little bit about some of your other products on your website. You've got on worldwithoutparasites.com, you've got all kinds of interesting other products that I've just kind of been looking around at today. Let's see, you've got a Harmonic Protector, and now what is that?
Oh, these are all Carol's inventions.
Okay.
So she's going to talk about that.
The Harmonic Protector is a device I came up with because when we first got together, when we travel, I get extremely sick from the cell phone towers and the high voltage wires and all that. Mm-hmm. By the end of the day, I couldn't even function. So I tried like the Q-Link, and I tried E-Crystal. I tried all of these devices out there to protect against EMF, and none of them really worked for me. They may work for other people, but they didn't work for me. So I said a prayer to the universe, and I told him, I said, if I'm supposed to do this work, I need something to help me so I can travel. And within, I think it was about 2 weeks, people showed up on my doorstep with titanium chips, all the stuff that went into those pendants, and what they've done. And I've mailed, in the beginning, I mailed out a bunch of these to different psychics and different people before I started selling them, and they all report back the same thing, that they felt rejuvenated, weren't tired, they could go into Walmart and not get ill. There was all these reports, and they all were pretty much the same. But what it does is it balances the body, and it enforces the auric field so that you can block out EMF naturally. But that's kind of what the Harmonic Protector does for you.
Wow.
On our web. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Does it? Do you know if it transmutes the energy that EMF puts that to? Okay.
Exactly. That's what it does. Yeah.
Interesting.
The premise of Orgonite is that it absorbs any kind of negative or disharmonious energies, whether it's dark DOR, what they call deadly orgone, or if it's unbalanced emotions, people that come in contact with you that don't like you, it will absorb their emotions so that doesn't affect you. And then it just absorbs that, balances it, sends it back out as healthy, balanced chi or life force.
It's like essential equipment for walking into Walmart, isn't it?
Oh, you bet it is.
Wow. So now you guys have something called the Orgone Pyramid.
That's for personal space. That'll do like a small house.
Oh, really?
What it does is anybody who comes into your house, it's interesting because I do fairs, psychic fairs and different fairs around, our area. And I have my pyramids and I have my pendants and I have what they call tower busters, which are small orgone pieces. People come up to our table. There's always someone standing at our table, and they're just petting like the pyramid or whatever the Orgonite piece is. Mm-hmm. You don't see people going up to people's tables and touching all their stuff. Well, they can't help themselves. It's because their body wants to dump all that negative stuff, so they just reach out and just touch everything. It's very interesting to watch.
Now, what's going on with the shape of the pyramid? I'm sure you've got some knowledge about that as far as the way it transduces energy and what's going on with that shape?
Well, the non-traditional scientists have always known that every shape has its own energy. Yeah, pyramids have special energy. It's kind of the same as cone energy, by the way.
Okay.
But Carol chose the pyramid shape because most people live in angular houses. If you lived in a dome, a cone might work better, for instance. And even without the Orgonite, the shape generates positive energy. But when you make it out of Orgonite, it just multiplies that effect dramatically.
Wow, interesting. Okay, when we come back, I want to ask you a little bit more about what's going on with the zappers and how it can affect other issues that people can have in the body. So when we come back, we'll be right back with Don and Carol Croft from worldwithoutparasites.com. Hey there, I'll be really quick. I just wanted to talk a little bit about a product that I really believe in and really think is a high-quality product. I have it myself. It's called Cure Tooth Decay by Ramil Nagel, and you can check that out at extremehealthradio.com/decay. And I don't know if you have heard or know, but tooth decay, cavities, gingivitis, and all these problems that we're having in our culture today, especially with the young ones, is not normal. It's completely not normal, and it's all based on diet. And it is possible to reverse and remineralize your teeth and reverse cavities. So if your dentist is scaring you into getting a root canal, I would definitely recommend reading this book first, because lots of cancers and lots of other diseases can be tied to each tooth. And a lot of people like Dr. Bob Dowling have been making that connection between the health of your teeth and diseases like cancer. He even says that all cancers are caused by problems with your mouth and cavities and tooth decays, and I think most specifically root canals. So I would highly recommend getting this book. It's called Cure Tooth Decay, and you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/decay. And I think you'll really be surprised and blown away by all the natural ways that you can reverse cavities. So if you buy it and like it, let me know. Send me an email, and I'd love to hear from you. Also, feel free to check out our store where we've got tons of great products that I think you'll really like. All kinds of high-quality products like the dehydrator, certain kinds of cleanses, herbal products, blenders, all kinds of really, really great products. So check out our store. I think you'll really be impressed by what we have there and how they can benefit you. So, and also, if you'd like to make a donation, feel free to do that. You can donate as little as $1 if you'd like. Any little bit you can donate would be really appreciative. We'd really love it. So that would help us to continue our work. And also, if you ever make purchases on Amazon, Mountain Rose Herbs, or the Raw Food World, anything like that, feel free to visit our page first. Any one of our web pages, at the very bottom, you'll see links to those sites. And anytime you can, if you purchase from Amazon, for example, on a regular basis or quite often, visit our site first, and we'll get a little commission of anything that you order. So any little bit would be just an amazing way to help keep us running, because we just really want to provide the best and most high quality content so that you can heal and that you can continue to get healthier and not be reliant on pharmaceutical medications and doctors and things. So every little bit would support us, but if you can't donate and don't want to do any of that, that's okay too. Feel free to just like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, send a link to your friends, sign up to our mailing list, and that would be really, really greatly appreciated. We'd really appreciate that. So any bit of help you can do to help spread the word of natural health, natural healing would be just awesome. So thank you so much for listening. And with that said, let's get back to this interview. Okay, we are back with Don and Carol Croft from World Without Parasites. Sounds like you guys are having a good time back there. And I wanted to ask you, Don or Carol, about cell towers and the dangers of these things that seem to be popping up almost everywhere these days.
Well, in fact, there are millions of them, and they all popped up within a few months in late 2001, early 2002.
Okay.
Millions of them. And we travel to Africa, Europe, all over. They're everywhere, South America. Mm-hmm. Everywhere that people live. And it's not for cell phones or weapons. I think most cell phone traffic is handled by satellite now.
Wow.
And the reason people feel sick around them is because they generate what Wilhelm Reich used to call deadly orgone radiation. And they might even be using Mobius coil for some of that.
Wow.
Yeah, those rectangular panels. Carol has an impression those are Mobius coils. That they can be directed, and they're used for a lot of different things. Psychic warfare, psychological. They can target a person in a room using 2 or 3 towers. So when you put simple Orgonite within a quarter mile of any of these towers, it turns them into healing devices. And the corporate order is so stupid in their arrogance that they just turn it up so it makes more healing energy. And that's why most of the smog in most of the major cities is gone now, because thousands of people are doing this. And the only way you would know about it is to really hunt for it online.
So you have like a device that you can put at the base of some of these towers, right? Or kind of hide them in the dirt and...
well, within a quarter mile.
Okay.
And people who see energy will see that after this has been done, within 20 minutes, there's like an outline, a yard or so out from the tower, the whole thing. It looks like a black line. And the energy outside of that line is very bright. So the energy inside that line is kind of messed up.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't see energy, but I know a lot of people that do. They all see the same thing.
A while back...
Orgonite is extremely simple. It's extremely simple. It's just metal and resin with a little bit of crystal in it.
Wow, so...
Now, our Orgonite is more complicated, naturally.
Right. A while back, I was made aware of a website called antennasearch.com, and you can search for how many of these cell towers are near you. And I think last time I checked, there was, I think, over 100 of them within, I think, 5 miles of where I live. It's just absolutely crazy. And I don't think you can go to drive
those
by.
Those are just the ones listed on the site. I guarantee if you get out and travel around, you're going to see more than that.
That's wild.
There are about 10,000 in L.A. 10,000 in L.A. The general ratio is 1 tower for every 2,000 people.
Oh my gosh! Wow. I think it's gonna in the future, we're gonna look back at this time when we've been exposing ourselves to all of this radiation, and kind of like the way we do with smoking now.
Well, we see this as the good old days, because now is the time of struggle when you can beat this corporate world order and their parasitic influence, and part of it's exposure. But a big part of it is to disable their weaponry, turn all of their weaponry into healing instruments. That's what thousands of us are doing.
Wow. So what would you recommend for people that want to protect themselves from cell phones? What kind of products do you guys have to help neutralize some of that radiation that's coming off of those iPhones and Blackberries and all that kind of stuff?
Well, that's something for Carol to answer, I think.
Okay.
I haven't found anything that completely gets rid of all that. Anytime you put a phone right to your head, you're going to get EMF and radiation from your phone. The best thing to do is use your speakerphone as much as possible. I do have a device on my iPhone, but it doesn't get it all. But it's the best one I've found so far, and I got it from earth.com. Oh. I think that was the website. It's a sticker that goes on the back of your phone, which I've tried a lot of those, but you can barely notice a difference. With this one, it probably gets about 70% at least. 70 to 75%, which is quite a bit.
Oh, wow.
So it's so far been the best one I've tried.
Wow, yeah, I think that, a lot of these cell phones are going to be... Oh man, I think the health repercussions of these things are going to be blown away. I think we'll just be blown away in the future. I recently read something that Apple banned a free app that someone had made that measured the amount of radiation that came off of their iPhone. And oddly enough, Apple banned that app.
I think cell phones are weapons too. I don't believe they need to make them harm you.
Oh, really?
I think they weaponize damn near everything. Televisions, everything they can. They turn into a weapon. And this is all subtle energy, and this is all outside of the universities or the media. This is done with black ops. It's a huge industry, huge, worldwide.
Just look at the smart meters, all that stuff.
Oh, God, those are horrible.
Those things are like the worst there is.
Yeah, and they're installing those in every house in America now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's, there's been studies done, and it's like strapping a cell phone tower right to your house. And every people who signed up to have cell phone towers on their property, almost every one of those people have cancer or have died of cancer.
Yeah, it's
what a bargain! $1,300 a month.
So they can kill you.
Oh gosh, it's just amazing. Oh man! So what can you do if you live in an apartment? And a lot of people live in apartments, and they some of the they're trying to put smart meters in there on them. And are there things that people can do with the authorities, or maybe they can start protecting themselves in their own space with some of your things, or?
Well, Orgonite transmutes that energy. So Orgonite, where you live, will transmute that stuff. But if they're targeting you, Orgonite's not enough. You got to fight back. And in terms of this opposition, effective opposition, exposure is the only thing that's going to stop it. Full exposure. And most people are not interested in that. It only takes a few people to get it done.
Wow. So
they can't work. Parasites can't survive if they're exposed.
Right.
And the world order is parasitic. It's old and it's parasitic.
Right. Wow. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you too quickly. I know we got to wrap up here in a few minutes, but I know this is a huge subject. But what the heck is going on with these chemtrails that you see all over the nation? It seems like people are starting to become a little more aware of these things.
Well, they are more aware because you see them now. But back when they were killing people and hurting people, you only saw them for a few minutes because they quickly came down to the ground. But in 2001, Carol and I invented a device we call the Orgonite Cloudbuster. Within a year, thousands of these are made, and the chemtrails are neutralized. And then now you see them in the sky because they don't come down to the ground anymore. They create these seeded little clouds that will drift across the sky for a while until they disappear like any other clouds. And then they have disinformation websites that just pummel you with terror and fear-mongering. We call them Chicken Little sites. and it only takes a little bit of thinking to realize that unless you're 12,000 feet tall, you're not breathing that stuff because it doesn't come down to the ground. And it sounds outlandish.
Right.
Yeah. But if you make a cloudbuster and see what it does, of course, you're within the field of probably 100 cloudbusters if you're in California.
Wow. So,
hey, can I plug something?
Oh, please do. Please do.
Okay. We've been promoting the basic zappers because I mentioned the word outlandish. Most people can't accept that a small device can do all this. So they feel uneasy about paying $134 for one of our zappers. And I don't blame them. And I encourage healthy skepticism. So I've been promoting the basic zappers. They're $35. And I promised Carol Two-Eagle in North Dakota that I would plug her today. So, and she sells those. Her email address is onedakotawoman@yahoo.com.
Okay.
And she's a Lakota pipe carrier. She's a Mandan Lakota native elder, very reputable. And we helped her set up to do this because the feds are trying to destroy her. So, because of her traditional standing.
Right.
Anyway, and she's terrific. So, she sells them wholesale. And when people buy a lot of Terminators to give them away, we say, it's probably a bad idea because most people won't even use them because it sounds too crazy. If you want to give them away, buy these little basic zappers. They're $17 a piece wholesale.
Oh, wow. Does she have a website or just her email?
just email One Dakota Woman at yahoo.com.
And is that the number one or ONE?
Oh, spell it out. ONE.
ONE. Okay, One Dakota Woman.
Yeah. ONE. Right. One Dakota Woman.
Okay.
Her name is Carol Sue Beagle.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's great. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that you guys are working on. I know you guys do a lot of the building of your own products and things, and so I wanted to, see what direction you're headed with the things that you're selling and then things that you're into and your website and all that.
Well, like I say, we keep improving our products, and Carol's the one that does that, really. Because when she comes across new materials, she'll introduce it to one of the products, like the coil she mentioned that goes in the T-Rex's Orgonite plug.
Okay.
Which is a Mobius. I can tell you what it is because you can see it. It's a caduceus coil with 17 gemstones on it. I just won't say what the gemstones are, but they relate to all the chakras, the energy centers, and have some additional stuff. We've done all that without increasing the price over the past 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you've got all of your products on your website, World Without Parasites, and just before we go, I had one last question. It's kind of in lines of what we were talking about earlier, but as far as television, what do you think's going on as far as, do you think there's anything being transmitted through TVs to people? Yeah,
it has been since the 50s, since the beginning. It's subliminal.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. What's your opinions about that?
Well, the CIA owns the industry, at least in North America. They set up the TV industry that captured soon after they were created in 1947. And from day one, it's been weaponized.
When they just did their big thing and made everybody buy high definition TVs, or you're not going to be able to get cable TV, right?
Right.
Okay, when they did that, everybody who updated their TV to the high definition TV or whatever it's called, there's a camera in those TVs. They can watch everything that's going on inside your house. They can watch you, they can hear you, everything. We have a flat screen TV in our living room that we don't hook on to any kind of cable or anything. We just buy DVDs and, series that are on disc already. We don't get on any kind of cable or satellite TV or anything like that. But still, I cover that TV with a scarf when we're not watching it, because I am not going to have them watching me.
Wow, I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
There's no privacy anymore.
Wow, so where did they put that little camera? Just inside the screen somewhere?
It's got to be, yeah.
Wow, that is, I've heard of, some of the stuff that, that's been transmitted, but I never knew about the camera thing and the new flat screens. That's amazing.
Well, it's like I say, exposure is the best weapon against this cancer. And it's so bad that sooner or later it's got to come out. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, what they do to millions of children every year is another thing.
Right.
Yeah, directly.
Wow. Yeah. So, I think that a lot of people can benefit from your zappers, because if they've got some kind of health crisis that they're dealing with, like, maybe it's cancer, maybe it's just candida or things like that, arthritis, wearing something like this and doing a small investment in your health to wear a zapper, it doesn't take any extra work. Changing your diet takes extra work. Working out takes extra work. All of that you should do, but it requires effort and work, on your part. But wearing a zapper is a great passive way to promote healing.
Well, that's a good point. You can be free of sickness, but honestly, if you want to be healthy, you have to do those other things.
Mm-hmm,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Being free of sickness is not being healthy.
Right.
That's just the first stage, yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's putting out any extra effort, because a lot of people, as you know, as a lot of people are lazy and they just want to, something easy.
That's one of my favorite aspects of it, being a lazy person.
Right. Well, yeah. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up the show here. Is there anything last words that you want to talk about?
Boy. Well, over the past 4 years, Carol and I have been getting healthier, and that Vitamix is one thing, superfoods, various devices, and we're middle-aged people, but we can look forward to several more decades of active service, you might say.
Right.
Because taking steps to be healthy, and the Zapper alone is not enough. It's important, but yeah, to be healthy these days, you got to go the extra mile. You got to do extra stuff. Not like 100 years ago.
Yeah, 100 years ago we had, a food that actually contained minerals. We had
right.
Right.
Well, food that was actually organic. Now you have to be really careful. You don't really know it's organic unless you're raising it yourself, and you know where the seeds came from.
Right. Yeah, and even then you can get organic food that has no minerals. And
right, exactly.
Wow. So
I should say, if somebody wants to buy Orgonite and they want to make it, or if they want to make it, the free instructions are on ethericwarriors.com.
Okay.
And there's a list of vendors on that site from all over the world. These are reputable vendors. And there are a few disreputable ones out there, and they get top billing on the search engines. So you got to dig a little deeper if you want to find the good. But that's what people do now. People know about this information.
Yeah, it's great with the internet and with shows like this popping up all over. It's a lot easier to get the word out these days than it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it really is. The internet's a miracle.
Yeah, hopefully we have it for many years to come, right?
Well, it can't be stopped. If it could be stopped, they would have stopped it.
That's true.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, Don and Carol Croft, for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. And your website is worldwithoutparasites.com. And you have a couple other websites like the ethericwarriors.com that you link off to, I believe, from that. But thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate that.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Justin.
No problem. And let me just close out the show. And do you mind staying on for a couple more minutes?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out of your day and listening to this podcast and this radio show about zapping and parasites and health and all of that. So thank you so much for joining us today. And again, you can find the information on this show at extremehealthradio.com/11, and you'll see a transcript there in a couple of weeks, and we'll get that up, and we'll get all the show notes up as well, so you can check out all the different websites as well as worldwithoutparasites.com. So thank you again for joining us, and if you like this episode, please do us a favor and share our link with your friends, or click the like on Facebook and Twitter and all of that good stuff, and share it with as many people as you like. We'd really appreciate